Can we start? Chris is recording the event. Okay. Good afternoon. The College of Medicine and Life Science Office of Diversity and Inclusion have the opportunity today to talk about the fight against food insecurity, supporting and getting involved in our campus community. For that conversation, I have the pleasure to introduce our distinguished speaker, Benjamin Weiner, Interim Associate Director of the Office of Student Involvement and Leadership, Dean of the Students' Office. During all this year, Mr. Weiner had the opportunity to work in multiple committees on campus and in the community. Mr. Weiner has the multiple certifications, awards, and professional development. Additionally, has multiple publications and presentations. He right now is pursuing his doctorate degree, and in no time he will get it, and congratulations for doing that. Thank you, Mr. Weiner, for being here and share with us this important topic and conversation today. Please feel free to start. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me, Dr. Wishner. Thanks everyone for joining. Big shout out to everyone that's in the crowd. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen. And I thought a great way to start this conversation on food insecurity is kind of introduce you to the office that does a lot of great work with food insecurities at the University of Toledo. Can everyone see that okay? Can everyone see that PowerPoint? Anyone can just unmute themselves, let me know.
Yes, I can see it.
Okay, perfect. So
Thank you.
when I arrived here in October of 2019, I took over the Office of Student Advocacy and Support. Now, if you want to stay in touch with this office, if you want to learn about updates, if you want to know like when the food pantries on both the main and health science campus, which are now known as Rocket Fuel, if you want to know when Rocket Fuel is restocked, that at the bottom of this front slide, that's our social media. So that's at UToledo OSAS for Facebook and Instagram, where we post updates about our programs, our events. We provide educational materials there, so that's a good place to check that out. So I thought it'd be good before we get into the food pantries, Rocket Fuel, and addressing food insecurity to give you a bit more education around the office so you can have a better understanding of why this work is so important and what else does this office do to support students. So I thought it was important first for y'all to meet the team that works in OSAS. So for those of you that don't know, Dr. Spann is our Dean of Students. These are some wonderful fun facts about Dr. Spann. You can see that smile hasn't changed in over, we'll say Dr. Spann's 30 years old, over 30 years. He's a very important person on this campus that cares deeply about addressing basic need insecurity, including food insecurity, and he's an advocate for student support services. So feel free to get connected with him, get to know him. Alongside Dr. Worth, they continue to advocate to address food insecurities on the health science campus. And then this is me. This is that guy that's talking to you right now. So like I said, my name is Ben. My pronouns are he, him, his. I'm actually from Rhode Island. I grew up in Barrington, Rhode Island. I'm a first-generation college student. I was an NCAA student athlete in college. I played volleyball, tennis, and I ran cross country. I'm a brunch enthusiast. I'm an advocate for experiential and transformative learning. I'm a proud brother of Pi Kappa Phi. I am a competitive gamer. I have played at a competitive level to a point where I've been signed by organizations, and I'm a Gallup certified Clifton Strengths coach. So that's me, big dog lover as well. Another person that's integral to the work around food insecurities at the University of Toledo is my graduate assistant, Yasmin Hamda. Yasmin has been working with us for almost a year now. So she's about to finish her first year in the master's program for higher education here at the University of Toledo. And she cares deeply about addressing food insecurities. And also, a big part of the reason I brought Yasmin on was because she also had a passion to improve personal hygiene support services, because that's also an integral role within both Rocket Fuel spots on the main and health science campus. And finally, the most important person to our team is my dog, Tina. If you ever need someone to bring a smile to your face, this little bulldog is there to help. So feel free to pop by my office, or if you see us on campus walking around, Tina's very friendly and would love to meet y'all. So what does this office really do? So let's get into the mission about OSAS and where does food insecurities play into that? So the Office of Student Advocacy and Support is really here on campus because we utilize restorative justice-based practices to assist students in crisis. So really what this office is committed to is working alongside students through difficulties and connecting them to resources for their academic and personal success. So when I say that, what does that really mean? So these are some of the common concerns you'll see students come into our office. And you can see right in the middle right there, excuse me, one of the major concerns is food insecurity. So on average, in the US, they say about 39 to 40% of US college students are food insecure. So if there are 10 students in this room, 4 of those students are probably food insecure. 4 of their students are trying to figure out, where am I going to get my next meal? So, this office will see students that, may not be able to get their next meal, or, due to financial concerns and trying to maintain being a full-time student, may say, I'm going to forego going to the grocery store this week because I need money for books, for electricity, et cetera, et cetera. And this is where these spaces on campus can really help students in need. So I'm kind of going to skip through a little bit of this presentation because I really want to get into the food insecurities portion. But this is actually an important step right here, the Rocket Care Report. So if you do know a student that's food insecure, or has other concerns that's really creating a barrier to their academic and personal success, fill out a Rocket Care Report. I like to tell folks on campus, like, if you truly are concerned about someone and you really care about them, fill out this report, because when you fill out this report, I'm going to get this information. I'm going to get to know, who is the person you care about? What's their Rocket ID number? What's going on? What's their class year? What's your relationship to the student? Why are you contacting me about this student? What is the nature of the incident? What's really happening? And then, what is the nature of your concern? If you can bubble it down into these sections, if not, just specify. And then, what are you hoping for the student? So what's the intended outcome? So, if you have a student that's food insecure and you're starting to notice some behavior that's really impacting their success, let me know. And then I'm going to reach out and really start to, begin creating a restorative advocacy plan for that student. So when I sit down with a student that's food insecure, when I arrived here, I introduced restorative justice-based principles into this office. So what does that really mean? So restorative justice is this awesome, cool, cooperative decision-making process that really gets the members really involved in the process. So the idea behind the center principles of restorative justice, it's down to these four beliefs. It's an inclusive decision-making process. So every time I sit down with a student, every time, if a student swipes into the food pantry and I notice that they're an inactive student, I'm going to reach out and say, hey, I appreciate that you're utilizing our services, but I did notice today that you're no longer an active student. What's going on? Can you talk to me? Can we sit down and have a chat? I'd really like to learn what's going on in your life and how can I support you? And then if that student begins to sit down with me, that's where we're going to have that conversation about, I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm here to hear your story, identify the issues that you're facing in your life, and start to pull together resources that I think might be really helpful for you. But ultimately, the decision is up to the student. I'm just there to serve as an emotional support advisor and walk side by side with that student. So after that plan is made, that's where that active accountability comes into play. That's me sitting there as a coach, as an advisor, as an administrator, saying, I'm going to hold you up to your end of the bargain because I want to see you succeed. I want to see you address those issues that are impacting your academic and personal success. So that's where you start to see the third belief in restorative justice, which is that repair of harm between the impacted student and their ambition for success. And hopefully, as we're starting to progress through this restorative advocacy plan, you're going to see trust. The student's going to begin to feel safe, empowered, and is going to become a self-advocate for themselves. So that's a real crash course on restorative justice. So let's get into the food pantries. So like I said, based on the Hope Center's last report, about 39% of U.S. college students are food insecure. That's a big, scary number. So Rocket Fuel on the Main and Health Science campus, which the main campus is located in the Student Union 2504 and the Health Education Building in room 112. The main campus is open 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And then after speaking with Hunter and various other students on the Health Science campus, we decided that it was better to have an afternoon schedule for the Health Science campus because that's when students can get there. So you'll see that the Health Science campus schedule is set from 3 to 7 p.m. because that is really what is best for that professional student population. So the goal really for these food pantries is to create a sustainable resource for temporary food needs. So every student that is an actively registered student at the University of Toledo is allowed to visit the student food pantries 3 times a week and can take up to 3 days worth of food per visit. So on average, a student can take 9 meals per week from the student food pantry. And we also, yes, we have food. We have, all those dry products, those grains, pasta, rice, frozen fish, anything that you really need in your diet. And we do our best to accommodate based on your dietary restrictions, allergies, your religion. We try to really have a diverse and inclusive array of items, but we also try to have personal hygiene products. So your toothpaste, your toothbrush, your body wash, your shampoos, menstrual products, products that are needed for young children, babies, because there are parents on this campus that are also students working hard to pursue an education, but also need these resources to survive, to take care of themselves, and to take care of their families. So, these spaces are really meant to just really provide support and hopefully, enable you to succeed and really be a student and focus on what's important, which is your education and your educational goals. So like I said, there's two food pantries on campus. They're both called Rocket Fuel. That was recently changed this past year. We're working to a big issue of concern around food insecurity, and the spaces that address that is that it creates a stigma. So a big part of my goal is to destigmatize the food pantries and create a space where students feel more comfortable, more welcome, and less embarrassed. I don't think a person should ever feel embarrassed to get resources that they need to help themselves succeed. So I'm trying to work with campus partners, students and staff and faculty to really create that experience and culture around both spaces on the Main and Health Science campus. In addition to the food pantries, we have a couple other programs and services to support students, staff, and faculty. So the food recovery program is something awesome that I've worked with dining in the past on. So anytime a student organization or a staff member or a faculty member decides to do a catered event, on that form, it will say, would you like to opt in, opt out of the food recovery program? If you don't uncheck that box, what that means is dining alongside my office is going to recover that food and then give it right back to the students. So we're either going to put out a meal alert to let students know, hey, there's, let's say Career Services does an event and there's a bunch of salads and, I don't know, pasta and all these other things. We're just going to recover it and put it out on the lounge or put it out in the health education building. And then I'm going to send out a meal alert to let students know that there's a free hot meal readily available for them. Now, let's say we recover all that, but it doesn't all get put to use. My office also has packaging containers so that we will package it up, stamp it with the correct date so we know when it's going to expire, but then put that into the food pantry so that students have access to that, every day of the week. So another important thing for Rocket Fuel and for the success of students is donations. So a big part of this work is really working with campus partners, student staff, volunteers like Hunter to create an environment that really encourages folks to give back. I think one of the coolest parts about being a Rocket is the mission and values, that idea that we're here to improve the human condition. And I think that's something really powerful and something really important to think about as you progress through this life and this human experience. So there are many ways you can donate. You can donate a swipe. You could drop off food. Maybe you have a friend or a person, especially during this crazy global pandemic. Maybe they don't feel safe coming into the food pantries. I think one of the most common trends and concerns right now is health anxiety. So maybe you want to swing by and pick up food for your fellow student, and they're happy to provide that information to us, and then we can arrange that. We also do curbside drop-offs. So let's say you're unable to get into the food pantry, or you don't feel safe going into the building. You can contact us in advance with your dietary restrictions, your allergies, and you can let us know what you need, and then we'll prepare that 3-day food bag for you and then bring that outside for you. And then we also do delivery. Something new we've been doing. We'll deliver within a 5-mile radius of the campus in case you're a student or a young person that tested positive for COVID, or you really don't feel comfortable coming to campus. You can also donate mobilely and online, and that's all on our website, on the University of Toledo website. So this is the meal alert. I really encourage everyone to know about meal alert. I reflect back on my undergraduate experience, and I think if there was a meal alert system when I was in place, I would probably be checking my phone every other second. So meal alert is really just a notification system to let students know when there's free food on campus, whether it's from the meal recovery program or let's say an office is just hosting an event and wants to ensure that students know this event is happening and that there's going to be catering and food available to them. So this is how you can join the meal alert system. If you didn't already know about this system, I highly encourage you to check it out. All you got to do is log into InfoNet, search meal alert, click the blue join button, and then you can just adjust your notification systems however you prefer. So if you'd like email and text or just text, and then I manage that system. So whenever there is something that is free and available, we put that out to students because we really want to continue to address food insecurities at the University of Toledo. It's a pressing issue, and like I said, if you're around 10 of your peers, 4 of them could potentially be food insecure. So we want to continue to ensure that these resources are available not only in the food pantries but on various places on and off campus, so that every student has access to it. So that's all the information I got about food pantries. I'd really like to create a conversation with folks that are on the call. So if you have questions, I'd really like to take some time to just hear what you're thinking, why you joined this call, what you're hoping to learn today.
Hi, Ben. Hunter here.
Oh, hey.
So you talked about, the stigma of like the food of a food pantry and all that. But one of the big things that I've kind of learned about with talking with students is the stigma of the college experience. This is something that we as college students have to go through. We eat ramen, we eat Taco Bell. That's the standard college diet. How do you see how we can get through to students that it doesn't have to be that way? You can have a nutritional diet, and it doesn't have to be a struggle.
Yeah, it's a great point, Hunter, and we've actually started working on that. So, a couple things that are going to be coming out new in both food pantry spots in both rocket fuels. So, one thing that we're starting to do is building a relationship. So, we have a clinical dietitian at the University of Toledo. So, I'm working alongside that clinical dietitian and my graduate assistant to develop nutritional facts and menus about the items that are in the food pantries, because you're absolutely right. Like you don't have to eat ramen every day, because there is a bountiful amount of ingredients in this food pantry that can create wholesome, nutritious, and wellness oriented meals. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to teach students that it is possible to eat healthy even on a budget. So we're going to have the clinical dietitian start to create some recipe cards. We're going to have those nutrition facts in every section of the food pantry, so it becomes an educational tour even when you're visiting. And then if you're still like unsure or not, fully comfortable, confident about the benefits of the items that are in the food pantries, our staff is going to be trained to provide you that experience and really answer those questions. And then also really working alongside further. I work with a couple of professors on campus, Dr. Krantz and Dr. Krail, who manage some of the outside gardens here at the University of Toledo. And one of the things that they're really passionate about is root vegetables and the health benefits to root vegetables. So with that partnership, the benefit for the students is that they get fresh fruits and vegetables. And then the benefit for faculty here is they want to better understand if students understand the health benefits to the root vegetables and other fresh fruits and vegetables that are being offered in these gardens. So I think by assessing students about some of the items that are offered in the garden, I think we're beginning to develop a better understanding really of what is that knowledge, where is that bottom line for students, and what do they really understand about these items that are being offered, the benefits to their health, and then what can we do to create more programming, maybe more pop-up events, and more educational materials to make sure that they're not just grabbing that ramen and saying, you know what, it's easy, I can just boil water, put it in, but did they think about how much sodium is in those little ramen packs? Or or I could just take these noodles and then I could just pop fresh vegetables right in the bowl, and then I have a nice healthy option that I did all on a budget.
Yeah, it's really hard, especially with, you know, we see so many movies where it's like, you know, this is just how it has to be, you know, you're living off college loans and stuff. The next question that I have around stigma was, you know, working at the health science rocket fuel was, I would talk to students and they would say things like, I feel like I'm taking away from others. How do you talk to students in a way where it's like, you know, you have to take time for yourself to make sure that you can give back to your community? Like how do we break down that conversation in the future with other students?
Yeah, of them like feeling guilty that they're taking resources.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what I really try to say is like, hey, like you're also a student, so if you need these resources, take them. Like,
Mhm.
you know, like what, like I have a team of paraprofessionals and student staff that are, I mean, you know, you've been a part of this team. Like we are constantly evaluating, like, you know, what does our stock look like? You know, what are we missing here? What are we lacking, or what could really benefit you know, the students that utilize these services. So you know, I don't ever want a student to feel like they can't take because they're worried about you know, someone else isn't going to have access to that, because our goal really is to keep that fully stocked. So if you
Mhm.
feel like I would probably even tell students like, you know, what do you think would really, and I ask them all the time, not even just in this role in the food pantries, but in any role I do, I say, how can I do my job better? You know, how can I be a better resource to you? So in regards to the food pantries, you know, what resources do you really need? What resources would make this experience better for your personal and professional development? Because we're talking about your health here. We're talking about your well-being. We're talking about what you put into your body every day so that you can be a successful student at the University of Toledo. So, yeah, I'm just constantly asking questions, and I'm constantly educating my graduate assistants and my student staff to get in that mindset. Because when we go to the Toledo Northwestern Food Bank, when we go to Costco, you know, when I apply for these grants through the USDA and the APLU, I'm looking for resources that are going to be uh, immensely beneficial to a young person's health, because I firmly believe you should have full access to this and you don't have to feel guilty for wanting access to that, because it's a part of your educational package. Like you pay for this. It's a resource that's readily available for you because it's a part of your educational experience. So my thought is you, as long as you're staying within the guidelines of 3 days worth of food per visit, you take whatever you need.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So last question around stigma. Um, I really like this rocket card report thing. You know, I'm a huge advocate for not how should I say, you know, a media blitz of saying we have these resources, but more or less peer to peers talking about it. Like, hey, have you heard about this? Have you seen students who might not have come in but maybe been recommended from like a fellow student? Like, has that like changed the perception of the rocket fuel?
Yeah, I think so. And I think another thing that has really helped has been student organizations wanting to volunteer and help out, because I think it makes it more of a social norm. It makes it more a part of like everyday campus life and student involvement. So I think like the more I can get students to say, hey, this is important, and the more I can get student orgs to feel like, hey, this is a worthy cause that we really want to stand behind. Because to be honest, you're supporting each other. Like by you donating a meal, or by your organization taking an hour or a week to run a donation drive to, you know, boost up efforts around personal hygiene products, or running a menstrual drive to ensure that there's enough menstrual products in the food pantry consistently. You're taking care of each other. I think that's the beauty behind the food pantry, and really, you know, that mouth to mouth conversations, and even just saying, hey, I'm going to go to the food pantry, do you want to come with me? And they're like, what, you use the food pantry? And it's like, yeah, of course I do. They have incredible resources, you need to come check it out. And like I even like, as simple as advising my staff to say, hey, I want y'all to play music in here because I want people to feel welcome here. I want people to feel like this is a space they can be themselves and really, you know, begin to explore that part of their identity where they're trying to identify resources that are really beneficial to their health, their everyday living, and really what's going to support their academic and personal success while they're here. But also part of it too, Hunter, is you're learning about what's going to be beneficial to you when you graduate and you go on to be a global leader and go on to live and lead in this world, because you're still going to need those resources even when you're adulting full time and you have a, you know, a career, and you're just out there living. So um, yeah, the more student buy-in I can get, the more student advocates like you and the folks on this call, the more positive change we can create and really ignite the culture around food insecurity.
Absolutely. Well, I want to thank you for your time, Ben. I love the presentation. It seems like every time I listen to you, it seems like I learned something new.
Yeah, of course, Hunter, and thank you for all you do, man. You're a true advocate. Any other questions? Paige, I see you're on the call tonight. Why'd you join the call?
You too. Bye-bye. Thank you, Ben. Any other question that can be here ruminated, please? There are not wrong or right answers. Just if you have any other question, feel free to ask Ben that he can help us and direct us in the right way. And if we don't have any other question, I would like to, we have somebody's texting here. Yeah, we have one, Toledo. Somebody's chatting with us that's saying, you get it, Ben? Did you get that? Toledo College of Medicine, page prologue to host. I don't have a microphone, but I thought it would be a great topic to learn about. Did you see it, Ben?
Sorry, I'm trying to, the chat's all, okay, there it goes. Let's see, welcome Paige. I don't have a microphone, but I thought it'd be a great topic to learn about. Absolutely. Are there other things, Paige, that you'd like to learn about in regards to, it's a larger concept. It's something that I'm working towards, and like a bigger goal, like if we're talking long-term, like Ben's wish list goal, is to create a hub for basic need insecurity. So when you think of basic need, I think of financial stress, which is typically a huge trend in college students. I think of food insecurity, and then a common concern even on this campus is homelessness. So that's really my angle. I'd like to really turn these food pantries into a hub for basic need insecurity. So it includes food insecurity, financial stress, financial concerns, and homelessness, so that there is a channel of support addressing every basic need that a student should honestly just have access to. They shouldn't have to stress out about any of this stuff. And if you don't have questions now, that's okay, because I'm going to put all my contact info in the chat.
Thank you, Ben. It's a good idea to have your email there, your phone from the office, that people can definitely reach you in any moment, in any time that they need. Oh, another question here.
Yeah, keep an eye out on the social media. So we post updates there all the time. And as we head into the fall and we start to get, knock on wood, that the global pandemic monster goes away, we're going to start to have more on-campus events. So in a traditional year, what I aspire to do and what I plan to do on the main and health science campus is having some type of event once a day. So once a day, I'm hoping to provide free food in addition to, the services we provide in the food pantry on campus, and just sending that alert out. And I was doing that when I arrived here. I was providing, fresh food, fresh, granola bars, fresh breakfast items once a day, Monday through Friday, so that I could say I was giving out, I was offering additional food services to students at least once more a day, because that's really the goal, is just to continue to address the insecurity around food. And if you haven't checked it out yet, go check it out. I think a big part of the experience is, understanding what the pantries offer. And
Absolutely.
they're all run and led by student staff. So they are students working to help students.
Thank you, Ben. Any other question? Looks like we don't have anything else, Ben. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for explaining us very well what is your department and what are your mission. I heard something in the back, right? Anybody? No? Please feel free to reach the department if you have any other question, or you can reach the diversity and we will redirect you to the right person in the food department.